After reading the book The Fourth Industrial Revolution by Klaus Schwab, I found very interesting how it deals with the evolution that the three past industrial revolutions have had, which we are living today, which the one we are living today. For putting in context and better understanding, the first revolution took place in the age of steam. The second one was caused by electricity, and the third one is often referred to the computer revolution or digital revolution. Also, according to Schwab, the situation is changing the way we live, work, and relate to each other. Also, the speed, breadth, and the depth of this revolution are forcing us to rethink how countries are developing, how organizations generate his own value, and even what it means to be human. To start with this, the author named Klaus Schwab is a German economist and businessman, best known for being the founder of the World Economic Forum. Likewise, through the forum he had created, he promotes the collaboration between the public and private sector to promote research and improve the work through the production of reports and strategic documentation. Also, in 2004, he founded the Forum of Young Global Leaders, which aims to bring together more than 1,000 people under the age of 30 from all the paths of life who have shown commitment to improve and to put a good thing to the world and encourage them to work together over the 8 years that last this forum and identify and better understand of the global change. One thing that after reading the book seemed more interesting to me is when Klaus mentioned that as such the fourth revolution that we are experiencing has different characteristics to the previous ones in the aspect as that as such it was not formed because a new form of energy or information transfer, but it is considered that it became from a fusion between the technologies that have been developed in the past years and the interaction between the physical, digital, and biological domain. In this way, I think he is correct in saying that the fourth revolution, industrial revolution, begins when digital interjects with the nanotechnology, genetics, dialogues with quantum computer and big data, and the artificial intelligence mixes with technology, the Internet of the Things, and renewable sources of energy. For example, in my career as a civil engineer, it has been evolving. However, it is not that new technologies have been developed, but on the contrary, the different technologies have been merged, or in this case, the dimensions such as 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, and 5D to create an interdisciplinary project where the client is presented in a simpler way. It should be noted that through the life cycle of the project, there is a continuous feedback processes. To better understanding the first dimension is the idea from which we start. The second dimension is the sketch where the software is prepared for the modeling, where the materials, structural loads, etc. are proposed. For this third dimension, it is the information model of the building, in this case beam, while the fourth dimension is the dimension of time to determine the phases of the project, and finally the fifth dimension is about cost controls and expense estimation. Also, in my opinion, I agree with the author in many cases. For example, when he mentioned that the transformation of the latest revolution occurs mainly in three main engines or drivers: the physical ones, that are autonomous vehicles, 3D printers, advanced robotics, new materials, the digital ones, Internet of Things, microsensors, remote monitoring, blockchains that we have seen in this graphs, collaborative economy, artificial intelligence, and the biological ones that engross the genetic sequencing, synthetic biology, biological editing, xenotransplantation, and bioprinting. Also, in my opinion, uh, I agree with what he says in the case that the fourth industrial revolution is quite related to what we have seen in grass, and in it, what it brings a trend towards total automation of manufacturing, where from what I understood, automation is mainly done by cyber physical systems made possible by the Internet of the Things and cloud computer or cloud, for example, Google Drive, iCloud, any of these softwares that use cloud computing. Also, something that I found interesting is that thanks to this revolution that is taking place nowadays, companies will be able to create networks that will be able to control themselves throughout the entire value chain. Another thing that seems interesting is that due to the transformation of the fourth revolution, large corporations will have a shorter life cycle since they will stop selling products to sell services. Also, when I was reading the book, the revolution will directly or indirectly affect five aspects: the economic, the business, the government, the society, and the individual one. In this case of the first one, I found very peculiar that two will be affected: the growth and the employment. Talking about the first one, he talks about to being pragmatic and optimistic, highlighting the importance of dealing with the aging of population and improving productivity in a productive context that is moving to the zero marginal cost. On the other hand, in the business area, technologies will be key for a company to survive and have rapid growth. Business models also will be very important uh, due to the vision and learning capacity for the change. To understand better this idea, the fourth industrial revolution forces us to rethink business models while creating new opportunities based on constant innovation. Also, governments will play a fundamental role for this transformation because they will have the efficiency to on the individual needs in a large part of them. For example, the regulations they will play a decisive role in the adoption or an expansion of exponential technologies, and governments must adopt quick, agile, and measures based on exponential thinking, and don't be protectionism. And as we are already living it, this transformation will affect each one of us, since as we are living it, it will invade our privacy, property, our time, and our press dedicated to work and our interpersonal relationships. Also, what I took from this book is that the world is continuously changing at huge steps, and everything we know around us will change from our person to our work. For this reason, however, does not adapt to these digital changes will be doomed to stay in the past and not evolve. Also, how it relates in my career is that sketches and the 3D modeling will be part of it. Since I mentioned before, the our project divides in 5 dimensions, where you need to I have the idea from where you will start. Then you have the sketch, where the software you will be modeling all the project, where the materials, structural loads are proposed, and regarding the client necessities. Also, we need the information model of the building, how it will be conformed, the dimensions of the building, and all that kind of stuff, to know very clear how to deal with the employees and how they will do the work. The 4 dimension, how I mentioned, is a very important part, because in this phase we will determine the phases of the project, how many time we will last with the project, how we will divide the cost and the expense estimations during all the phases of the project. And also the 5 dimension is very important, because regarding to this dimension, we will know if we need a credit, a bank credit, and how many estimation cost we will have during all the project. And it is very important, because since we know all this kind of stuff, the project will be very successful. So the 4th industrial revolution will affect all of us in now, whatever is our major. So it is important to adapt and keep focusing forward to know how these 4 revolutions will affect us.